So I got the Flaming Carnage, so that took a little bit. I also managed to get the virtual connection up to 5 stars, which, as you might know, compared to the normal version, of course you can go up a little higher, you can get to 3%, but I mean, a 0.5% difference is not that big of a deal in my opinion. The main thing is I've got those pieces now, so pretty much for anybody that's trying to build a Plume Monarch build, I mean, really basically all you got to do outside of everything that I've, been tweaking. There's a couple of places that I still got to tweak, but they're a real pain to get. And most people, that are trying to build like a super good archer build, keep this in mind, but these are like what I describe as the most expensive places. First place is actually where you wouldn't think very much, but it's actually in the weddings, because you want to pair up with somebody that is obviously really active and is playing the game, because you're going to get a stupid amount in stats there. Another place is actually in Prayer Statue, getting a full set of combo, or more importantly, like triple S plus. Like, if you can get a set of those in combo, that's going to be huge. Obviously, if you're not doing parking wars every day, you need to be, because what you can do is basically turn around and go into decorations here, and then you just want to pump up and upgrade as many of these as you can possible, because that's going to add to your HP defense bonus. And I guess I should also point out the tech park, obviously, like if you're not already doing that, there's a fair bit in there. So that means, you got to be doing both your mine and you got to be doing prayer. There's so many different things, right, that you're tweaking, but at the same time, you've also got your enchantments, which, as you guys already know, I've been saying this over and over and over. I am going to eventually get Mana Mastery swapped out first thing, and I'm going to get Furious Gale in there so I get the global combo damage for 10%. I just haven't gotten there yet. And then eventually I'll also need to swap out to full Eternal Gear and get crit rate and combo in that. That's going to take a while. But these are all things that you want to like pay attention to. Like, you want crit combo, and you want, so basically crit rate and combo are kind of like the two things that you're aiming for in your gear, right? But along with that, there's also souls. Now recently I was able to get pretty much all the souls that I wanted to get done. So at this point now, what I do is I basically juggle between upgrading Wildlife Piercer, Eye of the Abyss, Bloodstained Blade, Blade Duo, Immortal Spirit, basically everything except for counter damage, because that's the only one that really doesn't matter as much. But, so like to kind of demonstrate like what I'm getting at here is, again, you can upgrade these souls and such, get your fusions, what have you, but you probably want to know what an actual version, like what is something to actually strive to. So, like, for example, BMW ended up winning in the Shroomie tournament. And so, like, this Plume Monarch build here, he's 88k power, and you notice when you look at his final HP, partner, 42k. It's a lot of stats. And that's just from my partner in the ring. And then you take into consideration, okay, like your relic, that's a lot. Tech is where he's really kicking my ass, almost double. Skills, kind of a questionable one. So his skills are at 27%. He just has that many skills done. My mount's pretty comparable. Obviously, parking slot, you can see that amounts to a lot. Artifact amounts to a lot, right? And then here you have global HP total, and ring total. So you see how ring here comes in handy. Your back accessory is going to come in handy here. Yeah, these are all things that you don't pay as much attention to. But like even his souls, 110 to 35. Plus he's got 12 and then 48 coming off of his mount. And then 6% coming off the hull, which, as you might imagine, is coming off of your lake invasion and such. Plus he's using the, this particular avian, and he's grabbing the debuff immunity, which is kind of interesting. But again, the big thing here is the ring has a large part in this. Plus he's got like the Cloud Drifter mount and the Colossal Beast. Those are pretty significant. And again, you're just looking at like his crit rate and his combo, all that aside, right? It that is where a large chunk of your stats are coming out of. And so like if for say you want to replicate that, now I think I was really lucky in that I got the Flaming Carnage, so I was really worried I wasn't going to. Plus I got the double-edged string. Oh, of course my battery's dying. But the other thing too is like for example, like during this event I pretty much went as crazy as I could possibly go. I will say that if you're somebody that wants to like leverage what you can gain in the event, I would say that like I'm a big fan of what you get with virtual connection. By all means, you can be a little biased here, but I will tell you that like if you haven't already, make sure you're going into the show center and do this, because you're going to get some free tickets, and then you're going to get scissors, which then you can use to go over into the pop star space and basically just repeat through here to get some extra crates and boxes. I'm the opinion that you really need to get souls. I mean, that to me I think makes the most sense out of all the items that you can get. I mean, obviously you can dump them directly into your mount, for example, if you want to get clocks, or you could just as easily get hammers and get go that route too. I mean, either way, right? There's not really necessarily a wrong answer there. Now I'm really looking forward to upgrading my ring, and the way I'm going to go about that is there's kind of like 2 or 3 different ways to go about this, right? You can either go and get paired up with somebody, which if you don't know how the system works, basically every day you need to go find somebody that you know is active and is playing the game, and you basically want to gift your milk teas over to them. And over time you'll eventually build up a certain level with them that eventually, once you've acquired this level, you can get them up to loyal. And then once you get them up to loyal, what you can then do is go and do a marriage, and you have standard, advanced, and luxury. The only difference between like standard and advanced is advanced is $15 and luxury is $100. And you might have noticed that I didn't mention standard. That's because it's 15k gems. Now the thing is you notice that you're only going to get 66 or so and upgrading it versus $9.99. So obviously the people that are going to go all in are going to go and grab the $100 upgrade for their actual marriage. And that's, obviously the difference between the super pay to wins and the not so pay to wins. Like that is the underlying difference between a lot of them, right? Then obviously, if you haven't already been doing this, obviously you go into the parking wars and you're going to spend a stupid amount of time doing cross server. I mean, that's where you're going to spend a stupid amount of time in here, because what you're ultimately aiming to achieve with this is that you're going to get as much loot as you can possibly get. You're going to rank your mounts and your decorations up, and you're just going to basically catalyze that into being a much better player. And then grand scheme of things, obviously, once you get your statue upgraded, then you're really pretty much good to go. I will point out though that compared to who they were up against, which these guys looked pretty goddamn good, don't get me wrong. They had the new mount, virtual connection, they had even the say like Midnight Firefly, and a couple of good pieces here and there. The one thing I will point out is that like here you can see they're 87k and 76k as opposed to, get this, 98k. And the other guy was, 88k. Like they had a huge power advantage to begin with. Noticeably, he has the freaking astronaut B-Duck that's mutated, and he's got the mutated speed update. He's got like all these super decent freaking appendages. So he's kind of he's over the top. Like Moose is pretty goddamn good in that regard, and then obviously you tack that on with lots of stun, crit rate, combo, pieces of gear. That guy's gonna be a mollywhopping son of a gun, but you take that all in with a grain of salt when you look at like how his final HP comes out. Because again, I always find this really interesting. Like, I can compare my Evians, and I'm like, okay, that's where I need to improve. My enchantments, I need to improve. But my partner's is like way, way down compared to what it could be, and that's where you see a substantial chunk of that stat go up like crazy. Plus, his tech is just up. It's almost double of what I have. Which, I feel like if that's the case, right? And what we know so far is that basically you need to just go in and basically go through here and just do your research. It's like, okay, here I'm at 20k, so to get up to 100k, I'm surely got to be closer to 40. Which means you got to be mining like absolutely nutter. And that means you got to be going down here and basically going down, got to be grabbing that loot, you know? And I don't know, I mean, even then, you know, it's like, okay, so you're getting 300 a pop here every once in a blue moon, you know, it's still going to take a while to get that far. It's like, here, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And we'll do this. And then once my pickaxes are out, I have the choice of using these, but I've been stacking them and I choose not to. You know, but like in the grand scheme of things, I think like, if anything, right, if you want to make the most of it, you go over here and you know, obviously make do during the rushes, you know, and then you can just basically get as much as you can. Honestly, rushes in my server are absolutely nutter. Like, there be people that have 2.8 million freaking. Like, I didn't realize how nutter it was until, like, I just tried to get near, and then I realized, oh wow, there are actual nutters level crazy here. Like, freaking people are going way over and above what I thought I could do. Like, I only did 680k, and I'm like, I'm already kind of, that was a lot of freaking, a lot of gems and a lot of fertilizer and a lot of epic seeds, of which, you know, it still amounted to almost nothing, and then that's really crazy, you know. But in the end, all guys, the main thing that I'm trying to get at to you is that with a Plume Monarch build, or you know, any type ability build, those are going to be some things that are going to make a huge difference in your playstyle. In the grand scheme of things, I would say, if anything, if you need more questions on the front of that, just feel free to ask. But if you want to save some money, check out this, and I'll see you guys next time.